Om Sadashivasamaramdham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshuhu Shrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mayi santu Om Shanti 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 Yadi manyase suvedeti Daharame vapi Nunam tvam vetha Brahmano rupam Yadasya deveshu Athanu mimamsyameva Devate manye viditam So we have already seen in the first kanda, okay, the question was asked and then first the answer was given that it is your own self which is a conscious being, correct? Impelled by which all the indriyas and manas etc. are active. For that the question is given that it is because of your own self alone, which is the conscious being, which is even inner, or it is called pratyagatma because it is even behind your mind and senses and all that. And it was revealed with words like shrotrasya shrotram, manaso manaha, all these things, only to show that it cannot be objectified by your senses and even your mind. And it is not the meaning of any one particular word also. It cannot be objectified by words, it cannot be objectified by mind. Now that conscious being is yourself, but then is there only one conscious being like that, or there are many means? That also was then answered by saying that Yad vacha anabhyuditam yena vag abhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate. Like that, a series of verses are there. In manasana manute yenahur manomatam. Then yad chakshushana pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati. Yad shrotrena na shrunoti yena shrotramidam shrutam. Yad pranena na praniti yena pranah praniyate. All this. Then the common thing is what? Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. Like this Mahavakya is there, revealing that this conscious being who is there within this body-mind sense complex, the Dehi, is non-different from this Jagatkaranam Brahma, who is presented as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. That Anantam Brahma is non-different from myself. But this Brahman is not the one you do upasana as an object. Okay? The upasya, which is an object of your upasana, any object of your meditation or visualization cannot be Brahman, because Brahman is not any one object. Okay? It cannot be any one object because it has Desha, Kala, Vastu, Aparichhindatvam, we say. Anantatvam means it has to be Ananta with respect to space, time and object wise also. It cannot be separate from any one object. or it cannot be limited as only this object, because as soon as you say it is this, then it is not anything else, correct? That itself will limit Brahman. So Brahman is not anything which you do, which you cognize as an upasya devata. But generally how we look upon our Ishta Devata, let us say, see, only we have this concept or idea of an Ishta Devata, right? It's not there in any other theology, or even some Dvaita theologies here. I don't know whether they accept Ishta Devata, because they always say that only Narayana is supreme, or Krishna is supreme, or Shiva is supreme, then others become whatever, subordinate. Or they will say that there is a Ishvara Koti, Jiva Koti and all that. They have a category called Ishvara category. In that only Narayana and Lakshmi are included, or even whether Lakshmi is Ishvara, I don't know. And then everybody else is Jiva only. Shiva or whoever else, other devatas are all Jiva. So they have all this. Theologically there is all these issues. But if you take our Shankara Bhagavad Pada, he is called Shanmata Sthapana Acharya. Means for us, any deity can become the supreme deity or the ultimate deity, in whom all other deities also we see, correct? We can see like that. There is nothing wrong with that. It's not that only one form is supreme or ultimate or anything like that. With the Ishta Devata, any Devata is actually including all other Devatas only, because that Devata only we see as the Jagat Karanam and all that. One who is the uncaused cause of everything, in whom everything inheres. The whole world only we see within that Ishta Devata, whether it is whatever, whether when we say Shanmata, in fact in that it is all the, whether it is Shiva or Vishnu or Shakti or Ganapati, Surya and Kumar, Kartikeya, all these 6 are there. Of course, then you can extend that also. Now you can include Ayyappan and whatever other devatas also who are there in our tradition, correct? So, you can have your Ishta Devata and view that Devata as the one who is the basis for this entire creation. But the important thing there is you cannot consider that Devata as an object of your cognition, correct? Then you are leaving yourself out of that upasya. That is a problem. If you do that, then nedam edidam upasate, then it is not Brahman anymore. Understand that? So, the upasana also has to culminate in the understanding that there is no real upasya and upasaka are one and the same, correct? That's the knowledge it has to culminate in. So, the upasya and upasaka cannot be two different realities. Otherwise, the upasya will become jada, will become will become an object of your cognition or knowledge or your visualization or whatever you can call it. So that's not correct. So that much has been already said. Now what the second kanda also is continuing the same chapter only, because now the Guru has taught the students, correct? So all the students are there in the class, Guru has completed the teaching, but then he still wants to know whether the students have correctly grasped it, assimilated this vision properly. So now he is saying, he is addressing the students and says, Yedi manyase suvedeti. Now this, he says, if you think that you know this Brahman well, suveda, su is used as a prefix here with Veda. That su has a specific meaning here, in the sense that if you think that you know Brahman as like this object or anything like that, correct? Well known means you know this Brahman as an object of your cognition. If you think that you know Brahman, because that is what is the orientation, correct? For everyone, we have Ishvara, we are having Bhakti, Ishvara Bhakti, we are all doing Ishvara Upasana or some kind of an Aradhana to the Ishvara. In all that, Ishvara is generally looked upon as some power other than myself only always, and helping me in some way. That's where everybody starts, but you cannot stop there. Even when we, in fact, if most of our puja paddhati and all that, even any dhyana shlokam and all you take, that Ishvara is still presented as everything, right? That is there inbuilt into our religious culture. So you take whichever way you look at it. If you say Vishnu, who means Vyapnoti iti Vishnu, the one who is all pervading is Vishnu. And even Vishnu means the most famous statement is, where is your Narayana? Means what did Prahlada say? He said he is there in a pillar or even in a dust, correct? Tunilum irupar, Turupilum irupar is something which has gone into us as children only. So Bhagavan is there everywhere, is the vision of our Vedic culture. It is there only here, in fact. If he is not converted, then he will say Bhagavan is there everywhere. Otherwise he has to say Father in heaven and all that, correct? Uparwala. Uparwala concept is not there for us, understand that. There is no Uparwala. Upar also is not, it's a relative term, correct? Upar in India is different from Upar in US. It will go in the other direction, I think. So, our Upar in Antarctica is different from Upar in Arctic Circle, anyway. So, this Upar Wala and all doesn't work. So, Bhagavan is everywhere. But even then, even with this knowledge, still that is not assimilated properly, correct? We always think that Bhagavan cannot be me. Bhagavan has to include you, but that doesn't get assimilated properly. So the tendency is what? To look upon Bhagavan as somebody other than myself. But if you look at like that, even from Bhagavan also you will get bhaya, correct? Bhagavan can also become bhaya karanam. Maybe that's why they say bhaya bhakti and all that. There is a term called bhaya bhakti also in Indian languages. So bhakti is going along with bhaya, but actually bhakti should give you abhayam, correct? So that is the issue here. There is a problem. Ishvara can become a bhaya karanam if Ishvara is looked upon as separate from oneself. As I have told you already, that comes out even in the 11th chapter of the Gita. Because even in the Vishwarupa Darshana, Arjuna did not include himself in the Vishwarupa. That's why he has fear. He only sees that all others are being devoured by Bhagavan in the Vishwarupa, correct? And then he says it's all like really horrible. So why don't you now show me your Saumyam Rupam? Means that itself shows that he is seeing himself other than Krishna. So that is a problem. So if you take this Upanishad, the Upanishad is addressing exactly the same thing. But it is not like we are condemning Upasana and all that. Upasana is still required. Upasana and Karma, everything is required. And Upasana is for Chitta Naishtalyam, we say. Karma with Yoga Buddhi is for Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi means what? You have to then define what is Malam. Only if you can define what is impurity, you can talk about purity of mind. Let us say Chitta Shuddhi means purity of mind. Then how can you even talk about purity without defining what is impurity? Now what is impurity? Bhagavan is very clear, correct? Ragadvesha, they are the impurity. Ragadvesho vyavasthitau tayorna vasham agachet tau hyasya paripanthinau. So indriyasya arthe ragadvesho vyavasthitau. Bhagavan is very clear. Ragadvesha, they are the impurity. Why Ragadvesha is impurity? Means Ragadvesha implies that you are a wanting person, correct? Without being a wanting person, you cannot have a binding desire. Understand that. Any vendudal vendame, we say, correct? Any vendudal or vendame in Tamil means I want this, I do not want this, implies that you are a wanting person. Wanting person implies that you are a limited being which is not acceptable to yourself under any circumstance. Instinctively we can't accept that. That self non-acceptance is my fundamental problem. So basically Ragadvesha is only reinforcing your fundamental problem all the time. That's why one has to have a certain mastery over this raga dvesha first. That is what is called purity of mind. If you don't have the mastery, then for the sake of your raga dvesha, you can do anything. That means you can become greedy, correct? All the other things we talked about, kama, krodha, from kama onwards, all other things also will follow. You cannot stop it, in fact. It will happen. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, everything will come together. So first you have to address this impurity of raga dvesha, gain a certain mastery over that. That will come only by doing karma with yoga buddhi, because you cannot stop doing karma also. Karma everybody has to do, at least for Sharira Yatra you have to do karma. So then that is what the Shastra is very clear, it is giving you a path, it is giving you a highway in fact. So you have to only follow. But even then what? Mind is not able to focus. So mind is always a problem, some problem or the other is there. So then for that only we have all this yoga. Correct? Even we saw in the other class, all the yoga sadhana, all the upasana also is included in that. Correct? Any upasana or ashtanga yoga, whatever, or any kind of japa, dhyana, all that is only to take care of your mind. The chitta naischalya also is included. Chitta shuddhi is important. Chitta naischalya means you are able to focus on something in a one-pointed manner without any other conflicts and distractions. That is also important. These two are prerequisites. But everybody does not come to this knowledge with prerequisite. So this is both are ongoing process, correct? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam also has to happen. But one's focus on gaining this Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naischalya also should happen together. But it will all happen. It is all only, they both will happen. In fact, Shravana, Mananam also should help you in this Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naischalya. It can become a beneficially vicious process also. Understand that. Sometimes what? Certain things can beneficially help each other and make your growth very fast. So like that, it can become a beneficial cycle also. So that is what one has to focus on. Okay, initially as a student. And then you are attending the Vedanta class means now this whole vision is given to you. And then what? Yadi manyase suvedeti. So teacher is now testing. Do you think that you know this Brahman well? Then what does that? Then the teacher doesn't stop there. So what does he say? Daharam nunam tvam vedha brahmano rupam. Daharam or dabhram also there is a patha there. Patha Veda is there. Both mean the same thing. Alpam. Daharam means alpam. You know only little bit about this Brahman. Why he is saying little bit? Because anything, even if you say Brahman is this object, that also has some truth, correct? It is like saying, even if the clock is broken, it shows right time 2 times in a day, correct? If clock does not move at all. But even then, it can show you right time 2 times in the day. And once in the day, once at night, whatever. So like that, if you say Brahman is only Chaturbhuja Vishnu, or Mr. Krishna alone is Brahman, even then every object is Brahman really, correct? That way, there is some truth in that. But then that knowledge is not complete. Brahman cannot be only that object. As soon as you say Brahman is some object, the subject is left out. That is the problem there. So, Daharamevapi Nunam Tum Vedha Brahmano Rupam, the Brahman's nature. Brahmano Rupam here means the nature of Brahman. You only know little, So, but why you can ask, why I know only little means? Yadasya Tvam, Yadasya Deveshu. Why? Because you do not know that Brahman is there in you also, correct? That Brahman's Rupa is there in you, Tvam, and even in all the Devas. Brahman is the self of you, not only self of you, self of everybody, means including even the Devas. Sarva Bhutas are there, Sarva Bhutantaratma, correct? Yes, Sakshat, Aparokshat, Brahma, Sarva Bhutantaratma also. This Brahman, which is directly known without the intervention of any Pramana and all that, is this Atma itself. That is also the Atma of all beings. So that you are not aware, you know only a little bit of Brahman. If you say that Brahman is having some form and all that, that form may be again having some meaning and you may think that it is all powerful and is going to help me and all that, but in the process you have left yourself out of that. Or you can think that this form alone is superior, other devas are inferior. There is nothing like that. In all devas, Brahman alone is there as the Atma. Correct? That is again coming even in our Sandhya Vandanam. Correct? We do say that Brahmaiva Ahamasmi. Not only that. The Brahman who is there in the Aditya, the Surya Devata is the Brahman in me. So, Asau Aditya Brahma, Brahmaiva Ahamasmi. Like this we say. Even in the, or even before doing any puja also, Deho Devalaya Prokta, Jivo Devas Sanatana, Tejeda Jnana Nirmalyam, Soham Bhavena Pujaye. So the puja also, Soham Bhavena Pujaye. This is there, of course, this is there only in the Smarta tradition, I think. I don't know whether the others are chanting this. This is called Atma Puja first. Okay, so Atma Puja. Or even in Sri Vidya Upasana and all, many times they have a step called Atmanam Pujayami, Antaratmanam Pujayami, like that. You have Atma Puja is also important. Now, Atma is not different from the Upasya Devata, is inbuilt into our traditions. Even after all this also, people still have a difficulty in appreciating that Devata also is in me, correct? At least first you should understand that Devata is there everywhere, means it has to include me. But that doesn't come very easily. There is always a problem there. So that's why again the teacher is saying you have to know this. Otherwise what? Athanu mimamsya mevatvam. Athanu mimamsya mevate. Correct? So for you, this Brahman is still to be analyzed. Mimamsa means analysis. Vichara, you have to do, you have to inquire into it, you have to analyze, because I have already taught you. Whatever I have taught you, it has not been assimilated. So you have to analyze and know this Brahman's Rupam correctly as that this Brahman pervades both the subject and the object. It cannot leave out anything. And it is not an object of your knowledge or anything, it is the very Swarupa of the subject. It cannot be any one object, or it is all the objects like this. This has to be clearly known. So after the teacher says that, what does the student say?
Naham.
Not Naham. Before that what? Manye Viditam. See, you are listening. That is the most important thing. After hearing the teacher say all this, the student says, I know, I consider that, I know Brahman, Manye Viditam, Aham Manye. I consider that, I know this Brahman. Whatever you have taught me, I have assimilated correctly, I have understood this correctly. But he doesn't stop there. That's where the next verse comes, correct? He doesn't stop there. What does he say? Naham manye suvedeti. Nona vedeti vedacha. Yonas tadveda tadveda. Nona vedeti vedacha. So now he has to explain to the teacher that he has understood this correctly. Okay? So he has now claimed one fellow, always there is one fellow in the class, correct, who is not shy and all that, correct. He is the leader in the class. So this fellow says, okay, I know what you are really meaning here, and I know this Brahman also. Whatever you have taught me, I have grasped clearly. And then he is explaining what Naham Manye Suvedeti, because teacher already said, what did he say? Yadi Manyase Suvedeti. If you think that you know this Brahman well, as an object, you don't know. Dahramevapi nunam tvam vetta brahmano rupam. So he is again confirming to the teacher, saying that I don't consider that I know this Brahman well. Naham manye suvedeti. I do not know this Brahman well or as a object. I don't consider that Brahman is one of the objects, or it is something to be cognized as an object. Brahman is not an object of my knowledge. Then how did you know? If it is not an object of knowledge, there is no knowledge also, some people can say, correct? Because all knowledge which we have gained is all objective knowledge only. In our entire life, we are knowing things only as objects of our cognition, whatever it is. But this Brahman, already it was said, it is anya devatat vidita dato avidita dadhi. It is different from all that is known. It is also different from all that is unknown, means it is not an object. So Ram Manye Suvedeti. Okay, does it mean you don't know? No, I do not think I do not know. No, Navu na Veda iti. It is not that I do not know also. Therefore what? Veda cha, therefore I know, he says. Correct? It's not that I do not know this Brahman well, but that doesn't mean that I do not know it also, because I know it is myself, correct? It is the subject, it is the Swarupa of the subject. Therefore what? I know Vedacha. Okay, is it something, this special knowledge or something, only one student can know this? It is just because normally what happens with all this spirituality and gurus is what? You always think that, in fact, you put the Guru in the pedestal, which is good. Okay, we have to do Guru, Pada Puja and all that we do. But then one problem in that is, then what? You think that only Paramacharya or somebody, let us say, only he can know this. We are all what? Even yesterday there were some questions, we are all common people. Why this weakness? No, everybody is a common people, correct? When Paramacharya also was a student in some school and all that, Ramana also went to some school, then he became a jnani. Then what is it that is stopping you then? There need not be any weakness like that, correct? This Atma Jnanam is not going to come to weak people. In fact, that is said in the Upanishad itself. Upanishad itself says that, in fact, this very Atma Jnanam has to give you strength. And that strength should further make you know this Atma clearly. There should not be any weakness or a thought that only some special category of people will be able to know this. The fact that you have already come to Vedanta and you are sitting in a class itself is good enough, I think. There need not be anything more than that. It is good that we respect all our gurus, we can do puja and all that, but do not make it into such a level that only they can know, I cannot know. There is nothing like that. In fact, then you are disrespecting the teaching tradition. There is a teaching tradition only with the hope that when the guru teaches, students have to understand. Student cannot say, no, I say, like you go to a quantum physics class. The professor is teaching E is equal to mc square. Okay, only you people can know all this. If you say that, I will believe. You are not sitting there, then there is no knowledge then, correct? This is not about belief or anything or saying that, okay, if Einstein says that, I will accept it. It's not about that. It is about you knowing that, and there is no reason why you should not know it also. If you look at it, you are not any less or any more than anybody else. We should also have that much, some kind of that is the strength, that Atma Balam has to be there. You cannot say that only some special people will know and all that. Why I am saying that? Because Upanishad itself says, what the Upanishad says, first this student said that Manye Viditam, correct? But he did not stop there. See the beauty here. Maybe some other students also raised their hand, but this fellow started talking first. I don't know, but there were many students. Then he says, next immediately he says what? Yonas tadveda, nona vedeti vedacha. Correct? So, first he says, Naham manye suvedeti, nona vedeti vedacha. He is only talking about himself. But then the next line, what he is saying? Yaha, anyone. Okay, yaha means it is like a general pronoun, correct? Anyone, yaha, also again same thing, does not know this Brahman well, but that doesn't mean they do not know it also, means they also know it. Yonas tatveda, nona vedeti vedacha. So anybody else also who knows this Brahman in the same way, they have this knowledge. Only knowledge counts. Understand that nothing else. Some other people have other problems and all that. Let me tell you, what are the other problems? If I have this self-knowledge, why nobody is respecting me? The people have all these problems. If I am spiritual, then everybody should do namaskara. Even the dog is barking at me if I go out. You go out at 5 o'clock in the morning, they are all having some conference and they are coming at you, in fact. So even the dog is not respecting me. Don't worry, nothing is going to change. Nothing need to change. In fact, if you have jnanam, you have jnanam. There is no other, nothing needs to change really. Of course, your own vision about yourself and everything will change, but the vyavahara is still vyavahara. What happens in the vyavahara is still your prarabdha only, correct? So you should be ready to face whatever happens is fine. It should not be a big deal. Just because you have had jnanam and all that, nothing needs to really change externally. Understand that. You only know whether you have jnanam or not. You don't require anybody's certificate also. Because even after you have jnanam, others will come and talk nonsense to you, or they will say something to you. Your daughter-in-law is not going to change. Even as a mother-in-law, you have got atmik jnanam. Maybe you can tolerate your daughter-in-law better. But they may still say, see, she is acting as though she has jnanam. So okay, you have to take that off. Then only you have jnanam, okay? So whatever anybody says, nothing matters. You know whether you know or not. And then, like this student, you should be able to say, I know. Correct? Manye viditam. Manye viditam, you should be clear about that. That's all. It doesn't matter whether anybody else is validating you or whether they give any certificate. In fact, there is no certificate for this. As I told you, this is the most useless jnanam. Even if you come and study for 5 years, even I can give you a certificate also, but it will be useless. You cannot present it anywhere. Okay? So this student he not only talks about himself, he has now talked about others also. So whoever has this same vision, they all have this knowledge. Okay. In fact, now the Shruti takes over. The same thing, the Shruti is now further somewhat of a repetition, but it is summarizing, you can say. What does it say? Avijñātam vijānatam. Vijñātam avijānatam. Sorry. Yasya matam tasya matam. Matam yasya na vedasaha. Avijñātam vijānatam. Vijñātam avijānatam. So, here, yasya matam, tasya matam, yasya amatam means what? Those who do not know this Brahman as an object we have to supply, okay? Because those who do not know this, it is there like that, correct? Yasya amatam, tasya matam. So, for whom it is not known, he knows. Okay, again it looks like Zen contradiction, correct? Some kind of a Zen statement, but that's how it is. But all our statements we can explain properly. There is no problem. In fact, some people take all these things and try to make it into some mysticism. Okay? Those who know really do not know. Or those who do not know alone know. So you have to go beyond your mind. Because you do not, only if you do not know, you will know. So you cannot know in the mind. Go beyond your mind. Supra-mental and all that, they have new words for that. So mentally you cannot do anything. Mental means you are mental. So you go to supra-mental level. So you transcend the mind. Transcending the mind also, you have to do it through your thought only, correct? You cannot transcend anything because everything is pervaded by consciousness. How can you transcend anything and reach? You don't have to go anywhere to understand consciousness. Understand? The thing is, each and every thought is pervaded in and through, and even the content of that thought also is consciousness. Nothing is away from consciousness, which is you. How can you transcend that or transcend anything I am saying? Even your thoughts and all, let us say, transcending the thought is purely the understanding that each and every thought which is there is nothing but a manifestation of this consciousness alone. That is what we can say, at least we can say as transcending and all that. But it is not that something you have to give up on your mind and then go somewhere. I don't know where they even go. Even the thought beyond mind also is only a thought, correct? That thought is there in the mind only again. It is the thought about beyond, maybe. Beyond becomes an object of your thought in your mind. There is nothing called beyond mind. You cannot go anywhere beyond the mind. Again, the Shastra is expected all these things, I think so, because it says clearly, correct? Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. So the Upanishad itself is very clear. You have to know this, see this only in your mind. But that Manasa eva anudrashtavyam means that Bhashyakara will add that Shastra Guru Upadesha Samskaryam Manaha. Correct? Or Samskrita Manaha means what? The mind which is purified by the Upadesha of the Shastra and Guru, that alone can see this. Samskritam Manaha. The mind which is purified or which is exposed to this teaching, that will see this. So through the mind only we have to know. And in fact this knowledge knocks off the knower itself. Anyway, so that is the idea here. So this particular statement, yasya matam, tasya matam, means again the same thing it is. It is, the Shruti is saying, for those who do not know this Brahman as an object, but then they know this as the very nature of the subject, then they know. Then what? Matam yasya naveda saha. Those who say that it is known like an object, that you have to go to Vaikuntha and see, or you have to go to Kailasha to see, or you have to go to Golok Vrindavan. So many places are there. In fact, there is a confusion now where to go, you don't know. Different buses are coming, you don't know which one to board. Or bus, or I don't know, some space shuttle will come, I think, because it's not anywhere near, it may not be even in the solar system. So even after your death, you are getting some kind of a shuttle and you don't know which one to board. Whether they will reach there or not also we don't know. There may be some breakdown in between. So anyway, all that you have to believe, and then it's all paroksha only, right? It's all, nobody can verify that. And so it's based purely on belief. But this knowledge is very clear. There is nothing to believe here. It is something you can appreciate and it can be communicated very clearly. So that's why, anyway, so if somebody says that they know this Brahman as an object, yasya matam, means that person, matam yasya na vedasaha, he does not know. Clear. The same thing it repeats. Avijñātam vijānatam, vijñātam avijānatam. So if somebody says that they know this clearly as an object, means, so basically why it is repeated again and again is, this Brahman is all three, correct? It is the knower, it is the knowledge, and it is also the known. So to drive home this point only, this almost the same kind of sentences are repeated in the Shruti. Otherwise, the tendency is to know this as an object and somehow leave out the knower. Because every cognition, we already miss the invariable in each and every cognition, correct? Because whenever we talk about knowledge, that knowledge word, bodham, we say, correct? So I have phone bodham, means I have phone knowledge, I have chair knowledge, I have whatever this room knowledge, this AC knowledge. Everywhere the knowledge is common, that is the invariable. Or we can substitute that knowledge as I have phone consciousness, I have chair consciousness, I have whatever table consciousness, like that. So you can either substitute the word knowledge with consciousness also. It can be bodham, it can be chaitanyam, like that. So that bodham means what? It is all that bodham is the one which is common, which is the invariable. The objects are all varying all the time. So that bodham itself is nothing but consciousness alone, correct? It is chaitanyam alone. So in and through each and every cognition, this chaitanyam alone is pervading. And that means this I thought is there, correct? I am a knower. That also is pervaded by the same chaitanyam. Understand that? The knower also is basically a manovritti only. The antakarana upahita chaitanyam and all we say. See, our little bit of our theory of knowledge also we have to understand. That is called epistemology in English. Okay, I am just giving you some terminology so that even if you read something else, you should understand. So epistemology is supposed to be the study of knowledge. That is the modern term. So what does our Shastra say? How does knowledge take place? Means there is the mind. Then there are sense organs. So let us take sense perception itself first, because everything else is based on sense perception. So how does sense perception take place according to our Shastra? Means there is mind. Mind is Sattva Guna Pradhana, right? It is made up of the Sattva aspect of all the Pancha Mahabhuta. That's why the another name for mind itself is Sattva. Sattva Shuddhi and all the word is used frequently. Sattva Shuddhi means Antakarana Shuddhi only is called Sattva Shuddhi. The word Sattva itself is used for the mind because it is made up of the Sattva aspect of all the Pancha Mahabhutas. So Chittam, Sattvam, all these words are also used. Chitta Shuddhi also can be used. So this Antakarana or mind is subtle. It is Sukshma. And Indriyas are also Sukshma for us. Okay, but Indriyas, again the Jnana Indriyas are all made up of the Sattva aspect of each Mahabhuta. Because we say Akasha is Shabda Gunaka, means then the Shrotra is Akasha Sattva Guna becomes the Shrotra. Mind is common for everything, so all five elements Sattva Guna makes up the mind. But Shrotra is only Akasha. Similarly, Prithivi is Gandhavati. Prithivi means then Ghrana is made up of the Sattva aspect of the Prithivi Mahabhuta. Like this, each one you can link it. So the Jnanendriya and Manas are all subtle. Then the Karmendriya and Prana are all Rajas aspect, we say. And the physical body itself is Tamas aspect. Like this, we have a creation model which includes everything. It doesn't leave out anything. But in this again, continuation of this model only, our understanding of knowledge also is based on this. That mind is there. This mind can go out through this Indriya. Okay. It is like water flowing through a pipe. Okay, you can take this analogy. It is also not my analogy. It is there in there is a Vedanta Paribhasha, one book is there which deals with all these things in a lot more detail. But I am just trying to give you a summary here. So mind goes out through the Indriya and takes the form of the object. So again that sense object, if it is a sense object of a particular sense organ, then it is going out through that sense organ to take the form of that sense object. So if it is visual, then it goes through the eyes. If it is sound, means it is going out through the ears. So something like that we have to understand. And it takes the form, means it is like the water also, even if you have a field, correct? If you let the water in, the water takes the form of the field only, correct? It fills up. And the form is of the, any container, if you put the water in, water is going to take the form of that container. So similarly, mind being subtle, it can take the form of any object. Okay? So now, when that happens, knowledge takes place, we say. But why does the knowledge take place? Because we say Chaitanyam itself is manifest in many ways, correct? Chaitanyam alone is manifest as the entire Srishti. That means the Vishaya also is Chaitanyam. Mind also is Chaitanyam as a whole. And the form of the mind which takes the form of the object, correct? That part of the mind which takes the form of the object is the Manovritti. That is also manifestation, or Chaitanya manifests there also. So the Chaitanyam in the Vishaya is called Vishaya Chaitanya. The Chaitanya which is manifest as the object. Then the Chaitanya in general in your mind which is manifest is called the Pramatra Chaitanya. Means that is the one which is identified as the knower. Okay, the Pramatra Chaitanyam is the knower. Then the known Chaitanyam is the Vishaya Chaitanya, or the Chaitanya which is manifest as the object. Then what happens? Even then knowledge is not taking place because there is still avaranam is there. Because there is a ajnanam with respect to any object is there, because we are limited by our own antakarana itself. So the Chaitanya which is manifest in the antakarana is only there in that antakarana. The Vishaya Chaitanya is as though it is separate. So there is a certain avaranam. Then how does this avaranam go away? The mind has to take the form of that object. It is like there is one big part is there, correct? If you put another part within that, both the parts are now conditioning the same space, correct? Originally, one part is there here, another part is there here, let us say. Even though space is only one, understand that. Really speaking, space is indivisible one. Chaitanyam also is like that only. But even then, due to the upadhi, this upahita chaitanya is different from upahita chaitanya, means conditioned consciousness we can take, because each one is a conditioning factor. Each part is like conditioning a particular space, correct? You can even say this is 5 liter part, this is 6 liter part, means this is now conditioning 6 liters of space, this is conditioning 5 liters of space and all that. That is all again valid in Vyavahara, but really speaking, space itself is indivisible. Part is not creating a part space. Part itself is in space really, understand that. But still we can have Vyavahara like that. In that now you bring this 5 liter part into the 6 liter part, means what happened? Both are now conditioning the same space, correct? They are not anymore conditioning two different spaces. Like that we say, originally consciousness is manifesting or is being conditioned by the mind. That is one. Object also is conditioning the same consciousness. They are as though two different things. But when the mind goes and takes the form of that object, then there is only one consciousness, correct? Which is being conditioned by both that manovritti and the vishaya. That's when pratyaksha takes place, we say. That is when the direct anubhava or experience of that object, the sense perception takes place, when the vritti which is taking the form of the object is called pramana chaitanya. The pramana chaitanya and the vishaya chaitanya, when they become one, then it is called jnanam. This pratyaksha jnanam takes place. And again there is also this pramatra chaitanyam also is there, correct? That is also there. Then immediately it also says, I know. Part, this is part, I know this is part, both are taking place at the same time, because it's the same Chaitanya which is being the Pramana Chaitanya, Pramatra Chaitanya and Vishaya Chaitanya, all of them are aligned together. Means whatever Chaitanyam which is manifest there, due to that this whole cognition is taking place. Both the cognitions, this is part, I know this part, both are taking place at the same time because there is only one Sakshi. The Sakshi is one and the same. The Sakshi Chaitanya, the witness consciousness is the same, it is the same thing, and because of that, this knowledge takes place. Now in this, normally we do not have this idea that the consciousness is separate from all these things, correct? So what the Pramata thinks he is separate from the Prameya, and then the knowledge also takes place, that experience also is separate from it. Knowledge is there, knower is there, known is there, all are separate. But then what is the actual thing? Everything is the same consciousness alone. Consciousness is something which transcends the knowledge, known, knower, all these divisions, and that is the only thing which is there. And that's what you have to know as your own self, that consciousness is you. And if you know that in this manner, then you can say again, Manye Viditam, Avijñātam Vijānatam, all these things, Yasya Matam. Matam. So, Yasya Matam, Tasya Matam, all these things will apply to you only when you have this understanding that whatever consciousness is there, that alone is manifest as the known, knowledge and knower, all of them are one in reality. There are no differences. As soon as there is a difference there, Udaramantaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati, the knower will become afraid of the known only. As soon as there is a difference, you think subject is separate from the object, then fear, samsara, everything will come into the picture. Even if the known is Ishvara also, there is a problem. Okay? So, we will continue this. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.